I'm Avril and I used to work here as a china flower maker. When I first left school, I became a machinist making men's overalls for a year. But then I saw this advertised for a flower maker, so I came for an interview and I got the job. They started you on a flower, maybe the simplest flower, and they could see after a while if you could do it. And that's how it started, really. All I can say is that the money was good. For a 17-year-old, yeah, the money was good. At the beginning of the week, you'd be told what you were going to make that week. We had these big china white dishes with the lid on that used to keep the clay in, because obviously you couldn't let the air get to it because it starts drying. But the clay sometimes, because they used to make their own clay at the factory here, and the clay sometimes it was either too hard or too soft, or sometimes it was just right. When it was just right, it was wonderful. You could just get on with your flowers. Getting it nice and thin around the edge, I'm going to turn it over and cup it a little bit and put a bit of movement into the petal. Each flower had a price, so however many flowers you made at the end of the day, you got paid for. A little nick in the petal. Roses were renowned, especially in clay, for cracking. They used to crack open and it used to split open. We used to have a terrible job with the roses. So that could be just a rose bud. This is going to be a full-blown rose. One of my jobs was, and I can remember it very well, making the prickles for the gorse, but they'd be done in groups, and then the flowers, someone else made the flowers, and then they'd go over to the men who had modelled the bird, and then they'd put it all together. That is some of Royal Worcester flowers in a little vase type of thing, you know. We've got ranunculus, we've got poppies. The only thing I'd say I criticise about the flowers, they were straight, you know. So when you come to flower arranging, you couldn't quite arrange them like real flowers, you know. But they were very popular for a long time. But then they did diminish, the sales went right down, and so we were put on other parts of the factory. So I actually cast candle snuffers and birds, and then I went into the painting room, did a little bit of painting. I ended up, most oddly, doing some bronze work, and we had a Frenchman come over, and he had like these 3 sort of statues on a plinth, and our job was to clean it all up, and then it got made redundant. If you say you worked at Royal Worcester, everybody thinks you're a painter, and painters were a little bit higher than we were, and we were a lot lower. But the truth is, everybody was important in Royal Worcester, whether it be making the cups, doing litho, whatever, painting, anything. We all contributed to the Royal Worcester company. It was a generation thing. You know, you'd get your father and your mother worked there, then the children started to work there. So it was very much an industry where whole families might have worked there. We used to have a pub across the road called the Potter's Wheel. It's not there anymore, of course. And the men used to, and the women, used to go over there for a drink and then come back. And then the men used to come around all the different departments kissing the women. Yes, that's how I first met my husband, really. And it was fun, really, yeah. I love flowers. It's nature, isn't it? You know, it's something that can grow from a seed and produce this wonderful flower, you know. I mean, I don't know where we would be without flowers, really.